Hi, welcome to another episode of Be Loved. So glad that you're tuning in again. We always appreciate it. And I always like to say that the guests I have on, I know that they really appreciate you listening into their story and just allowing them to be a witness of who Jesus is in your life too. So today I have a special person with me. I feel like just all my guests are so special
Yeah.
because I do say, that God just puts the best people in my life and I'm so blessed. But I met Kyndall because she came to work for us at our restaurant a few years ago and just right when we needed her so badly. And anyway, so I got to know this sweet girl, and I'm excited for you to hear her journey. So she's going to talk a little bit about what the journey that God's had her on and where she is today and maybe where she thought she'd be. So, but before that, Kyndall, why don't you just share with us who you are? I know who you are.
Yes. Yes.
But some people are not going to know who you are.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit about your background. And
Okay.
I know you were raised around here. So talk to us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I was raised in Reed Spring, Missouri. I grew up here my whole life. Have always said I will never leave here because I just love this area. So I am now married to my husband, Greg, who grew up in the Blue Eye area. And we now live down here with our two boys, Cooper and Porter. And
Did you ever think you'd live in Blue Eye?
No, but now I would never change it. All the time we're like, do we want to move? No, I love it here. And it's been a great blessing for us and our family. But we have two little boys, and they are just the best little things ever. They're a lot of work, but they're a lot of fun. It's what I tell people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I grew up in a big family, grew up in a Christian home, we went to church Sundays, Wednesdays, Sunday school, all the things. But yeah, so I had a good childhood.
So we're kind of related,
I know, kind of some
Yeah,
down the
so-
line.
Yeah. Well, Greg's great grandma,
Yeah,
is that right?
I think so.
Is also my great grandma.
Mhm.
No, it would be Greg's great great grandma, right?
Yeah, his two great. Yeah,
Anyway,
think
we're
so.
related.
the
So
grandmas
my
are related.
grandpa
Yeah,
and his dad's mom
Yep.
were brother and
Yep.
sister.
Yep.
So we're just kind of related
Yes,
a
we
little
are.
bit, which is
we
so
claim
cool.
each other.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
So I know there's a lot of exciting things happening in your life right now
Yes, there
that
is.
I know you'll touch on later. The whole purpose of this podcast is to really get the message out about our identity in Christ, because no matter what we've gone through, no matter what family we were raised in, no matter what our childhood looked like, no matter what's happened or is happening in our lives right now, if we know Jesus, we've taken on his identity, which means that we are right. He makes us deserving of everything that he has done and given us. And so I love when people kind of figure out who they are in Christ, because I think that we tend to fulfill our purpose more because we're not living in shame. We're not living in regret. It's like, this is who God's created me to be, and he has equipped me because of what he's done, nothing about what I've done. So I know every time someone shares their story, that identity comes out. And so today, I know you have some things to share about your journey. So let's hear it.
Yeah, so just some backstory to finding my identity in Christ. Like I said, I was raised in a Christian home, had really, I had good parents who instilled Christ's love for me at a very young age. And I remember getting baptized. I want to say I was like probably 7 or 8 years old at a girls' GA camp. Like Jesus has always been a part of my life, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
But going into my teenage years, it was kind of one of those things. I was involved with youth group and K-Life and those types of things. But it's very different when you need to make the decision to love Christ for yourself and not your parents wanting you to love Christ. And so I don't know that I necessarily walked away from God, but I definitely strayed in my teenage years. But growing up,
When you say strayed, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think I always had that, in the back of my mind, like, no, God is near. Like, I know that. I think I made some decisions that didn't reflect that. And I think that's part of being a kid and the world we live in. But a lot of times I say I knew better. And unfortunately, I still made some of those decisions. But I never fully walked away. So I still had that. The Holy Spirit really convicted me in a lot of those situations. So I was glad to have kind of that guilt that was always there when I needed it to be. But I didn't ever really know what I was going to do with my life. I originally graduated and attended SBU, Southwest Baptist, to be a teacher. I thought, I love kids. I'd always dreamed of being a mom, and I was like, maybe this is where like ministering to kids could be my thing. And then I get there and I loved the school, but the debt to me seemed crazy. And I was like, I just can't even like think about going into this and trying to be the light when I will carry that burden and that will drag me down. Like I won't be able to walk into a classroom every day and think this is worth it when I know there's a hefty bill sitting behind me. I couldn't justify that. So I left there. And in that meantime, I worked in the restaurant business. Before I worked with you guys at White Lightning, I worked in Branson for just shy of 5 years at a restaurant, and I loved it. I think it taught me how to work. It's the reason I know how to get up. It's hard work. It's hard, honest work. And I really give credits to that. It was tough, but it made me learn that you have to have responsibilities, and to be an adult you got to put in the effort. And so then I worked at White Lightning, and I loved White Lightning still to this day. I do. And I would go back in a heartbeat. I love it there. But ultimately I knew, okay, I don't know that this is where I want to be either. I thought maybe I could find something within the restaurant environment that would be good for me, but I just wasn't finding that even in the places that I loved to work. So really, I got married and I found a lot of joy in being married and being a wife. Greg and I we've been together 4 years, married for 3, which is crazy to me. It doesn't seem real that it's gone by this fast, but we had always talked about having kids young, and I thought, I always dreamed of getting to be a mom. And so sure enough, the month after we got married, I got pregnant, and that was a shock. I mean, we knew, but it was a shock because you just don't know till you try. And the Lord was very grateful. We were very grateful to the Lord for blessing us with Cooper. And ever since then, it has kind of flipped a switch in me. I think bringing a life into this world is a very surreal thing. And until you experience it, there's really no words. Even after you've experienced it, I always tell people it is such an out-of-body experience because there's not enough good words to describe.
I remember when I had Whitney and my girlfriend called me and I said, and she hadn't had children yet, and I said, I cannot even describe the kind of love that I have for this baby. It's not like any other love. You love your husband, you love your parents, you love your siblings, but it's nothing like that. Then you have grandkids, and
I know I'm not there yet. I am not even close there yet. But yes, I hear that a lot.
So, but you also did hair.
Yes. Yes. So I did hair. Let me scoot back. I'm getting ahead of myself. So yes, I still do hair a little. I dabble in hair. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 5 years. And right after school, right after I left SBU, I decided to go to hair school, and I immediately knew this is where God has me. Like, I get to have a chair, and my job is to make people feel beautiful and to tell them that they are a child of God and that they are worthy, they are enough. Like, I knew that this was what God had for me. And I worked in a salon and I loved every aspect of it. I loved the atmosphere, and the work seemed easy to me. A lot of people say if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. And I believe that.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. I always told myself I'm going to get tired and there's going to be a day that I don't want to wake up and go to work. But even still to this day, I stay home most of the time and I still am like, okay, I get to go to work today. Like, I love my job. And,
Well, in that career, because I also do hair,
yeah,
it's the relationships that
it
you
is.
get.
Mhm.
And, I would love to retire,
I know.
but it's the
You just can't.
relationships that keep me
Yeah.
from doing it.
Mhm.
And they become family,
Yeah.
and you get to hear, they want to share with
Oh,
you. And
yes. Mhm.
you're just that kind of person
Yeah.
that somebody would feel very safe to talk to. And there's something about that chair. When
It
they
is.
sit down, all of a sudden,
Oh,
everything just comes
everything
out
comes
that's
flowing
happening
out.
in their
The
life,
floodgates open. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm, a lot like you in that way. I love to hear people's
Yeah.
stories. I
Mhm.
love to, you know, listen
Yes.
to
Mhm.
people. And, if God gives me something to say back that would
Yeah.
be wisdom for them, I love to share it. So,
Yeah.
he places us in these areas because, it's all about what we can pour into other people.
Yeah.
And that career
Oh, yeah.
allows you to pour into people
It
for
totally
sure.
does. Yeah.
So, in
And
lots of ways.
yes. And with the listening, I didn't ever feel like I had one really good trait about me until I started doing hair. And I was like, I can listen.
Oh,
Like, I have
definitely.
learned that, sometimes it's better to not have anything to say at all,
You're
but to just
right.
be quiet.
Mhm.
And that speaks more volume to people most of the time than you having something
They
to
really
say.
just want you to hear what they have to
Yes.
say. They don't
Yes.
always want advice.
No, I
Yeah.
know some people are like, I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
I'm good. But yeah, I really thought that the salon doing hair was going to be it for me. And not that that door has closed, because I still think that that is a ministry in itself. I'm just at the point where I'm slowly stepping away just because I'm now raising children, and
Mhm.
it's one of those things. I hope to maybe get back in the salon full time once my boys are older, but for now it's the door is just slightly cracked for
Yeah.
now. And again, back to having my boys. I had Cooper, and he was an angel. The joy that he brought us is
So cute.
indescribable, and he's so fun. He's 2 now, and he is wild. And he is
He's all boy.
Oh, he's all boy, but he is so fun, and he's charismatic, and he's just very kind, but also rough and tough, and
That's
just
awesome.
likes to be in the dirt and the mud. So about let's see, Cooper was about 8 months old at this point. And we got pregnant again. And at that point, I'm like, okay, like, we're doing this. Like, this is going to be, we're really full send in the 2 under 2. I got a gut feeling like, ugh, I don't think something's right. And that night, actually, my parents and my younger siblings had a pretty horrific accident happen at their home. And that same night, all my siblings gathered at my house. They drove all the way down to Blue Eye to be in a safe place. And that night was the night I started miscarrying our second. It always makes me emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that moment, I had to learn to be so selfless, and I really saw that be put into practice for myself. I'd always said I want people to describe me as humble and selfless, and that I do everything, but in that moment I was like, okay, Lord, like, today is not about me, and this evening is not about me. Like, what had happened to my siblings and my parents, that needed I needed my full undivided attention to them.
Wow.
And so about 2 days later, so that was, we had to go into the weekend. So 2 days later was when they confirmed at my doctor's office that I was miscarrying our second. I was 8 weeks along. So we didn't know gender or anything of that sort, but that was that was a tough place for me to be. Mostly because I had come pretty far from where my relationship with God was before having children to where I was. And I think Cooper, having him just allowed me to take a step back and say, okay, there is no way that I created him without God. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, he is so perfect, and his hands and his feet and his eyes and his blonde hair, like there's no way I did that. Like God designed him. And so I had come pretty far in my relationship with God in that. And then a miscarriage that really took a toll on me. And I remember telling Greg, like, when we were coming home from that doctor's appointment, of course, I'm just crying, and I'm like, I want to be so angry with God, but I'm not. And I'm like, and I don't know why. And that is such a feeling I don't know how to describe, because there was so much anger I wanted to feel and to lash out. And I wanted to yell at God, but I was like, I can't. I have no words for him at this point. I have more peace than I do hurt. And I think in that moment for me was the turning point of like, your purpose is to be a mom. And I think I tell people all the time, I genuinely believe God created me to be a mom, to minister to other moms, to love children, and to be a light in that atmosphere. So with the miscarriage, I miscarried naturally, and quickly right after that I got pregnant again, which
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you were telling Greg all that, how was he feeling?
It's very, I think being in a miscarriage for a man is hard. Even when we were pregnant with Cooper, he's like, none of this feels real until he literally was holding Cooper in his arms.
Going through
they don't experience any of it.
in the body.
And so for Greg, I think it was a little bit of shock of just, I don't know what to say, but also like, okay, like that makes me feel okay that I understand that there is a process to things, that God's hand is in all of these things, that he's at work even if we don't see it. And I think later we had conversations of like, it just wasn't meant to be. And he understood that obviously I think sooner than I did, because again, I'm the one going through it. And
and I mean, as a woman, we feel this responsibility, like we're carrying a life inside of us. And so we feel like everything we do makes a difference. Not just for us. It's not just about us anymore. It's also about this human that we have inside. And even early on in a pregnancy, I never experienced any miscarriages, but what I have thought about that before, because I knew that it was possible. But and I had always been told that a lot of times the miscarriages happen because maybe something wasn't quite right. But here's the awesome thing about it: when we know Jesus and we understand everlasting life, and we understand life begins at conception, because now your hope and that you have is that even though maybe something was not quite right, but that baby is made whole now. And so when you get to heaven, that baby's there. I know. I mean,
which is such a sweet, like, I just carry that because it's so sweet. It's such a sweet
not
reminder.
Lost.
No.
And that's the hope that we have as a believer. When my mom passed, she had a baby who had died 12 hours, had lived 12 hours. And she never even got to see her. Her name was Tiffany. And she wasn't able to go to the services or anything. And it was years later, they took pictures of her, that she looked at those pictures. It was a long time after Tiffany had passed. And I remember my mom grieved for many, many years, probably all of her life. But in the early years of that happening, she grieved for a long time. But when she took her last breath, one of the first things that I pictured, it just came to me, and I feel like God just gave me this as a comfort. Also knowing her, what she's experiencing, like she was seeing Tiffany for the very first time.
And the joy.
And I thought, oh my goodness, she, what what a reunion for her
Oh yeah.
to, and I truly believe that was probably the first person she saw
Yeah.
when she entered into the presence of Jesus,
Yeah.
other than Jesus.
Yeah. Of
He's who
course.
we ultimately want to see
Yes.
first.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so I just, there's so much hope that we have
There is. Mhm.
when things like this happen.
Yeah.
Because we believe in eternal
Yeah.
life and
Mhm.
eternal. We are all eternal beings.
Yeah.
We don't really die.
Mhm.
Our flesh,
Yep.
but our spirit lives. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, for Greg and I, it was kind of a weird, situation. It was hard for him, but also he was the most supportive and comforting husband. Really, he
Yeah,
was
I'm sure he was. He's so
incredible.
sweet.
But I want to share a few things that really comforted me in that time. Specifically, like leading to like a year, not quite the year, but when we were to have that baby, and my due date, we would have scheduled a C-section for June 18th. So
Okay.
that's when we celebrate baby's birthday. For me, a lot of people say you should name your baby, and because we didn't know gender and things, I was like, I don't want to give a boy a girl name and a girl a boy,
Yeah,
for me. And
right.
so I was like, you know what? I knew exactly when because I have C-section, so I knew when we would have gone in to have baby. So that's the day that I have kind of held on to. But really, in Psalms 35, it says, "For his anger is but for a moment, but his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning." And that was a good reminder for me that, the weeping is okay also.
Yeah,
Jesus
sure.
wept. I mean, in the Bible, there's a lot of that, and that's okay. And I told Greg, I want to be angry, but like all I can do is cry, and he's like, that's okay. He's like,
Yeah.
you can cry. And I'm like, I know, but yeah. And so that brought me a lot of peace in leading into June 18th. It was actually June 17th. So we miscarried in November. Baby was supposed to be due in June. So June 17th, I'm texting Greg in the morning, like, I'm having a really hard time thinking about waking up in the morning, knowing that we were supposed to be having a baby today. And he's like, I understand. He's like, I know. And of course, I'm sorry. But to me, that just wasn't fulfilling. That, like, no, I need more. Like, I need to know that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just broke down. I remember being in the car. And at this point, I was now pregnant with Porter, our third baby. And so I have Cooper in the car with me. I'm pregnant with Porter, and I'm just weeping. And I'm like, Lord, I need to see you. I need to see you. And I had held on to this verse from the very beginning. And sure enough, a song comes on, the first song. And I almost never play music in the car. I like to drive in quiet.
Yep.
I like to think. But I was
Me
like,
too.
I need something to drown out the thoughts. And so the first song I turn on is a song called Joy in the Morning by
I love
Elevation
that
Worship.
song,
And it's so
yes.
good. And I want to read, I keep this little piece with me because I needed to see it in writing. But I'm going to read the lyrics of the first part because the weight that this held, really, it was God revealing himself to me. And I think that this was the moment that I was like, you know what? I see you. Like, I know that I'm not alone. And so,
and he sees you.
Yes.
You recognize,
Yes.
like, he
Mhm.
sees me
Yes.
crying right
Yes.
here. I
And
need him.
yes, like, you knew that I didn't want to wake up in the morning knowing that I was supposed to have a baby today, and I don't get to have that baby, So
I love it.
it reads, everything happens for a reason, but you don't know what you don't know. You'll never have peace if you don't let go of tomorrow. So for me, I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I'm never going to have peace if I don't let go of what tomorrow was supposed to be.
So good.
And then it says, because it isn't even faith if your plan doesn't fall apart and you still choose to follow. If it doesn't make sense right now, it will when it's over. And then it goes into the chorus of there will be joy in the morning. And when that song came on, I put my car in park. And at this point I'm hysterical because I'm like, those words are exactly what I needed to hear.
I love it.
That it's okay if your world falls apart, but the difference is if you still continue to choose to follow Christ and the plan that he has for you. And there is joy in the morning. And so the fact that this song correlated with the verse that I had been, clinging to, that in itself was a wild coincidence for me. Not a coincidence.
Had
That's
you
God.
heard that
but
song before?
No, I'd never heard it before.
Oh my gosh.
I had never heard it before.
It's awesome.
And so that in itself was
song.
like, it's such a good song. But yeah,
my grandkids sing it at the top of their lungs in the car.
It's so good.
But
yeah.
I love when those things, I mean, no one can tell me that there's not a God.
Yeah.
And when we call on him,
it's there.
comes through.
Yeah, the proof is there. Yeah.
That
and
is
so
good.
From that moment on, I was like, okay, I surrender this to you. At this point, I am wanting the selfish desires of my own heart to have this baby here, and you to give me, like, bring this baby back. Like, I want this child. Like, we had prayed for this child, but ultimately this child was yours before it was ever mine.
Good.
And I don't deserve to have a child. I mean, we are so imperfect, and children are such a blessing that I thought, there's no way that I, as imperfect as I am, deserve to have something so incredible. And so from that moment on, that was where I was like, okay, Lord, like, my life is yours. Like, whatever you have in store for me, like, I'm here. Like, I want all of it. I don't want to think that, maybe this is where I should be. Like, I'm yours. Like, this is where I'm at. So that was the big
that is so good
turnaround for me. But
wow.
I think at this point, being a mom, there is so many things that you feel like you can do wrong, and God has really shown me that it's not all that serious. The best thing that I can do for my kids is let them know I am not perfect. Greg is not perfect. We are never ever going to be perfect parents, but Jesus is. And our prayer consistently is, please make us better parents for our boys. Like, please fill us with patience and kindness and kind words, because raising boys is tough. But
I think what you said about, we're not deserving of children.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
It is.
That God gives us. And I loved when you said that, because all of a sudden to me, it just was like, it's this gift that we're to take care of and we're responsible for now. But when we look at it as a gift, when someone gives you a gift that is so amazing, you want to cherish that gift, and you want to take good care of the gift and, protect it. And I think sometimes in this world, people have children and they don't see it that way.
No.
And they're more of a nuisance or a hassle or, and I think I love saying that, that people are hearing that it's a gift.
Yeah.
And I think, most people look at their children as gifts, but it's a good reminder that, we have been given these humans to raise into great adults who love the Lord and know that they're loved and cherished.
Yeah.
And,
I tell people all the time, like, this is the greatest opportunity I've ever had, because I get the chance to minister to my kids. And I see a lot of times, the only things we can take to heaven are our kids. We don't get to take the money. We don't take the cars, the home, the livestock, nothing. The only things that we are guaranteed that by our works we could possibly get to heaven is our children, by instilling that in them. So that's where God has really worked on me as through my motherhood journey. And I am nowhere near top notch of that, but it truly has made a big impact for me, having my kids and just realizing they are a gift. I don't deserve any of it, but
I love how you said that they are a gift. That's so good.
Yeah.
So, as I'm listening to your journey to where you are today, and you're talking about, you went to college and thought you'd be a teacher, and then you went to cosmetology school, and you worked in some restaurants and did some side stuff. Now you're a mom, and I know you're entering into another journey, but I just think about the seasons in our life, and it's so funny how we think that we're going to do this one thing forever, and if we just learn that the sky is the limit.
Yeah, it really is.
With God.
Yeah.
And he'll give us so many opportunities. And we have seasons in life where, those things were seasons in your life, and they may return. You're talking about maybe doing hair again full time. You never know. I mean, to me, just looking, instead of fretting over what am I supposed to do, because I know when I was growing up, I always felt like I had this one career that I was supposed to figure out. I had this one person I was supposed to marry. Everything was just supposedly just lined out for me, and now it's just my job to figure it all out. Which was very stressful to me,
daunting,
and also fearful. What if I didn't pick the right thing? And I don't believe that anymore. Again, I believe the sky's the limit, and I want to be in God's will, but I think when we look at God's will, it's so much more than this one thing. And so, it's exciting to me to see that you've journeyed through all of this, and you're finding even more doors are opening. And that's what happens when we're just looking for, where does God have me right now in my life? In this season, where am I supposed to be? And it's okay if it's different. Totally. And it's okay if you come back to it again. So another door is opening.
I'm going to piggyback on that really quick. I have been praying for multiple months now that I'll keep the doors open. But if it is not God's will, you shut the door, because ultimately I can't even enter the door unless it's open through your will. So God's like, if it's not your will, I want your will to be done, has been a prayer in our lives the last couple months. So been very grateful for that, where the door that is now opened for me was not one I was expecting. I have attended a group. It was originally called MOPS, Mama Preschoolers. It is now rebranded to the Mom Company, so the Mom Co. And I attend at my church, Woodland Hills. We've been members there, somewhere between like 8 and 10 years now. Greg and I did marriage counseling there. We love Woodland Hills. It has been a great place. I didn't know you've been there
that long.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It is a great place.
Yeah, so we became members there right after we got married, Greg and I together, and it's been a great place to raise our family. But they have an AM group and a PM group, so there's some that meet in the morning, afternoon. Obviously, for moms, schedules are different. Some have older kids and whatnot. So I have always attended the AM group, and they meet at Woodland Hills, and I've gone for 2 years. And just at the last meeting this last year, so this last May, the coordinator there announced to everyone that she was stepping down, and that it was a very kind of spur of the moment decision, that she was getting ready to have a baby and didn't feel that she could give the effort that it needed, which rightfully so. I respect her a lot for saying my family deserves more. And if I'm doing this, I'm taking away from them. So I told her, we had kind of talked about like me being a table leader of some sort, being the one that heads up conversation with other moms, because I love the mom community. I think there's so much goodness in that. And really, she was like, well, I also need a coordinator. And I was like, yeah, like that's right up my alley, but like, I don't know. And she was like, no, we need to meet and talk. And so from that moment on, I just prayed, okay, Lord, I do not feel equipped for this. Like, I am only,
there you go. You got the
job. I am only 24 years old.
That's what he loves.
Yes.
When we don't feel equipped.
I am only 24 years old. I still feel like I'm in my youth compared to some of these other moms. Which brings me to the verse in Timothy where like, do not look down on the youth, because, they still have a lot to bring to the table.
Yes.
And so a lot of the other moms on the leadership team are also much older than I am. Not that they're old, but they're easily in their late 20s, early 30s. And I was like, I'm barely 24. Like, I don't know that this is where I should be in. After lots of prayer and lots of meetings with her, I was like, I have no reason to say no. Like, there is nothing in my schedule. There is nothing in my boys' schedule. There's nothing in my heart that says I need to say no, because there was no more commitment than what I was already putting in. There's a little more work for me, but I thrive in chaos. So I was like, that's no problem. Like that, I had no reason to say no. So I have officially stepped into the role as head coordinator for the Momco AM group, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
We'll start meeting in September, and we'll meet the second Tuesday of every month from September to May. And this is for moms of preschoolers. So as long as your youngest is not in kindergarten, then you're more than welcome to attend.
So they have childcare there.
Yeah, so they offer childcare, which is what I'm very grateful for. Woodland Hills does a really good job.
Only for that
for
age.
us. Yes. Yeah. So like my two boys, so Porter and Cooper, both go to childcare while we are leading
That's
Momco.
such a great thing.
It really is, because I think moms need to have the space of not having toddlers running around. I know my toddler, you can't focus for more than 5 seconds at a time. And so having this space where I can sit down, eat a good meal, have some hot coffee, and get to fellowship with other moms who are walking through the same steps of life is important.
So what does it look like? What does a day consist of?
Yeah, so it kind of fluctuates on what we do. So this upcoming year, we are kind of bringing back some Bible study type things that has kind of been not strayed away from, but there's been other things that have taken place. So this year we're bringing back some of the Bible study things, just because a lot of moms feel like they have to choose between a women's Bible study or Momco, and I want to be able to offer both. So when you come in, you pretty much are just welcomed. Each table rotates, so it's a full potluck, which is so fun.
Oh, wow.
And they do, we offer all kinds of food. We have a lot of moms who have food allergies, food sensitivities, things. So there is something for everybody there. That's a requirement that we have. And then, you get to eat, enjoy hot coffee. Everything is provided. And then we sit down. A lot of times we'll do crafts. Sometimes we'll do a worship morning. There'll be a couple times like we're going to have some special guests come and speak, share some testimonies, share just kind of what God is doing in their life, a lot like what you're doing, which is so fun. Last year we did a few things where we helped out Woodland Hills with Christmas prep or Mother's Day prep, or things that we can help out just around. So really it's just a time of fellowship with other moms. So it typically lasts from about 9 to 11. So it's about a 2-hour window, give or take. But it's a good time. And I would recommend that if you're needing somewhere to plug in, to find other moms, and especially young moms. I think that was hard for me. I'm like, I need more young moms. Like I need this community. So this has given me a good outlet for that. So we'd love for you to come. We'll start in September and then go from there. But,
all right. And that's at Woodland Hills. So
it's at Woodland
to
Hills.
find out about that, do they have
a... so we have a Facebook group, and it's called Momco AM. I am the admin on there. So I think if you were to search it, you could find that my name is on there. And then you can request to join the group, and then all of the updates and information will be there.
Great. When you were talking about, gosh, I don't feel qualified to do that, because you're young or whatever. Like you're in the heat of it all. So you're very qualified.
I'm in the heat of it all.
You are. But I do a fellowship on Monday mornings, and last week it was about when we are weak, he is strong. So it's actually in our weakness that we're the strongest. Because it's his strength. And so remember that when you think,
it's a good reminder.
My goodness, I'm not qualified. No, that's right. That's why he wants to use you. That's why he has chosen you for this, because he gets the glory.
Oh, yeah.
When
Yeah.
we feel qualified, we get the
Yep.
glory,
Yep.
you know. But whenever we don't feel qualified, but we know God's calling us
Yeah.
to something, he gets the glory.
Yeah.
And that's where his strength
Mhm.
comes through
Mhm.
for us. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I'm
to walk
excited for
into.
you. You're going to be so good at it.
I'm excited.
And-
it is everything about it is like totally right up my alley. So
yeah.
I'm
And,
excited
you know,
to.
moms are going to be drawn to you. They're
Yeah.
going to want to come, you know, because of you. And
Yeah.
it's going to be good.
It will be good.
It will be
Yeah.
good. So,
yeah.
before, unless you have some more stuff
I think
with your
that's about
story,
it. Yeah.
I do want to ask you a couple of
Yeah.
things. So, when you and Greg as this
Mhm.
family unit, I know you guys do some special things at home with your kids. Share a few of those things. Like, what does that look like? You know, what are some? I know you shared a few things with me.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot.
That's okay. That's okay. I love it. Yeah. Obviously for Greg and I, Greg grew up going to church. And so we both had that instilled in us at a young age. And so I think it was so important for us to make sure, you know, we are raising our kids in a good church, you know, where they're excited to go. And Woodland Hills has done that for us. Cooper, what do we say? You ready to go to church? Church, mama, church. And I'm like, yep, we're going to church.
That's awesome.
And so one thing that we wanted to give Cooper specifically was something that he could relate to the name Jesus. And so this last Easter, I actually found a little plush toy. I actually found it at Walmart, surprisingly enough.
Oh.
I think it was $15-16, but it was just a plain little Jesus with a little blue robe. It's very sweet, but I think for me at a young age, I needed to see it.
Yeah.
I needed to know, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And as I've gotten older, I've realized it's the believing in the unseen that makes the faith
Sure.
great. But
Yeah.
for Cooper, I wanted him to be able to look at that and say,
Identify
this
with
is Jesus.
something.
Yes. And so that has been really fun for us because I'll say, Mama, where's my Jesus? And I'm like, let's think he's probably in your bed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and multiple times he'll
I love
take it to
that.
sleep with him.
Aw.
So just giving him a face to a name,
Yeah.
even in a small toy, has
Yes.
kind of helped. And then we pray a lot, whether it's at bedtime, mealtime, in the car. Cooper is now to the point being 2, Mama, my arm hurts. We pray. I'm like, okay, we'll
Yeah.
pray about it, you know.
I
And
love it.
it being not just when we need to pray, Jesus bless this food, amen, or, you know, Jesus, please help us do this, but praying like, Jesus, thank you so much for this good day, you know,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing Dada home safe, you know, all of those
Yeah,
things.
just throughout the day, a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just making it where he feels like he can engage with that.
Yeah.
Has
so
been
good.
important for us. And we're kind of at the point where we want to start leaning into the work that Woodland Hills is doing. So they they teach obviously in church, but there's also send homes that you can have. So we are actually, I'm hoping to start diving in with him kind of towards this fall of like, okay, what was your Bible verse at church? You know, he'll be 3 in February. So he's very smart. He's very aware. So leaning into what Woodland Hills is also instilling in them.
Start.
Yeah. You can't start too young.
Early or
No.
whatever. What's it done for you and Greg?
You know, a lot. It's done a lot for us. I think we grew up very differently. The two of us, we have a lot of similarities. We had a lot of similar beliefs, but grew up in very different homes, which is okay. I mean, I understand that. But it has really brought us to a point of understanding like, none of this is by our works. Like, I think it, especially going through miscarriage and being young parents and having people around us that aren't on the same path that we're in, it has really made us be brave. I mean, as a couple, you know, we get up, and if we are gonna say no Sundays, we're going to church. If you want to do something after church, you can wait till we get home, you know. Just making it a priority in our marriage. I tell people all the time we don't fight, which people are like, every good marriage fights, and I'm like, we really don't. My
Yeah.
husband is not a fighter; he's a lover, you know. But he does not like to fight, and so, but I think God has allowed us to be able to communicate well with each other, which I think
Oh, that's so good.
strays us from a lot of the nonsense arguments that you know
Yeah.
can come about. And you know, we might bicker. We have our moments where I'm
Well.
like, "You're moving slow. Hurry up!" Like,
Oh,
we've got the, you know,
absolutely.
all of the things,
Yeah.
but we really don't fight, and I'm very grateful for that. I think a healthy marriage is important, especially when you're in the thick of raising young kids. And
Did you start out your marriage with this in church,
you know,
or has this
yes
kind of
and
come?
no. It has definitely come to kind of a peak for us when we were dating. Now we had a little bit of a party phase, which I feel like when you're young and 20, 18, 19, 20 years old, you do. But we still almost every Sunday made a point to get up and go to church.
Yeah.
Now, I might not have been proud of how much I drank the night before, but we still made a point to get up
Yeah.
and go. And I think that made a difference for us. Then we did premarital counseling through Woodland Hills. And, you know, I don't love to share with a lot of people, but we did live together before we were married. And at this point,
You're sharing it with a lot of
I know
people.
I'm sharing with a lot of people, but at
That's
this point,
okay.
I'm
This is your
grateful.
testimony.
I'm grateful now that everything worked out, but I would never recommend it for my kids. I would not say like, yes, you need to do this. Like, it was so much better for our marriage. I don't think that's true. I think we would have been just fine me sleeping somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. But yeah, we attended church a lot. So then doing the premarital counseling, my husband's kind of a hermit also. So I think that kind of drug him out a little bit and just made it known like, no, like, this has to be a priority in our marriage.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it will likely fail. And the divorce rate is so high now. And that's scary to think about, especially I was barely 20 when we got married. So it's scary to think about being 20 and 21 years old. Like, you better have it figured out because that's hard, you know, in a marriage. Especially, getting pregnant right away. We needed that firm foundation. But definitely as the years have gone on, especially in the 3 years of being married, God has really worked in us. But
I love that you're saying, you know, we partied on Saturday night, went to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is what I'm talking about with this identity thing.
Yeah.
Is that we feel like we got to get all cleaned up before we can go to Jesus.
Yeah. And that's.
And we all need to be cleaned up all the time. Yep. I mean, we're never clean enough on our own. He cleans us. Yep. He cleanses us. The Bible says from all unrighteousness. Yep. He does.
Yep.
Not me.
No.
I can't get right enough.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I want to encourage people that just keep seeking the Lord.
Yeah.
No matter what you're involved in, no matter, maybe you are living with somebody right now and you feel like, you know, I probably shouldn't be. And then you feel shame. It's like, just seek the Lord. Yeah. He will make a way of escape for things that we want to change. Yeah. And instead of like feeling I'm a failure or I'm never going to be good enough for God to use, or I mean, I'm looking at your life. You're saying I lived with him before we got married. You know, we partied. Look what God's doing.
I know.
In spite of all of it. Yeah. And, you know, the world judges us by some of these outward things, but there's many of us living with lots of inward things. And it's all the same to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if I'm living with jealousy and unforgiveness and all of that, but I'm going to church every Sunday and I'm reading the Bible every day, it's still those are things that's just as bad as if I was partying on Saturday night and going to church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same.
It's all the same. So let's just seek the Lord.
Yeah.
He will clean us up. He will cleanse us. And when we receive him, that's the cleansing.
Yeah.
You know, now we're just learning how to walk in who we are now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about getting better.
Yeah.
It's about learning how to walk in who he says I am. Does that make sense?
Yes. And it totally does. And that's what's so sweet about it being an intimate and personal relationship with Jesus is the Bible is so open about he will meet you where you are.
Yes,
There
he
is
did you.
nothing. Yes, there is nothing that I could have ever done that would have been good enough. I mean,
No.
the Bible, it speaks a lot about, I may do all of these good things in life, but if I'm not a true follower, when I get to the gates of heaven, God's going to say, turn away from me. I never knew you.
Exactly.
And that is
But I
terrifying.
did this and I did that.
Yeah, but it's not me. It's not me. And
Yeah.
that's the sweetness of the relationship is once you are able to surrender and seek Jesus and allow him to make his way in your life, it just gets better and better
It
in the
does.
years to come.
And as you and Greg continued in maybe just going to church, maybe you weren't reading the word at home, maybe you weren't doing anything else, you were just going to church every Sunday. You were hearing the word.
Yeah.
You were being in fellowship with people who were believers.
Yeah.
And God began doing a work in your heart and in your life. And those things that we feel, we want to hang on to, or, the sins of our life that we can't let go of, they start falling off, because as we learn more of who he is, the less we want of that.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened.
Yeah.
And it will continue to happen as it continues to happen in my life and every believer's life.
Yeah.
We all have this entanglement of sin in our heart that we have to continue to get rid of, until we're in his presence.
Yeah.
And that's a great testimony of just how you just keep seeking him and he begins to reveal things to us. Sometimes we don't even see it.
No.
Most of the time.
And there's times it hasn't been till after the fact that I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand. That was you.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
This has been so good. Thank
I'm
you
so
for just sharing your heart and your seasons of life. And I think people are going to be, there's a lot of women who have gone through miscarriages that this is going to be healing. Can you read that song one more time?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the song is Joy in the Morning by Elevation Worship. And it reads, everything happens for a reason, but you don't know what you don't know. You'll never have peace if you don't let go of tomorrow. Because if it isn't faith until your plan falls apart and you still choose to follow. If it doesn't make sense right now, it will when it's over. There will be joy in the morning.
That's so good.
So good. Yeah.
I love it. Good. Thank you again for joining in. And if you're hurting out there, maybe you're a mom that's gone through some of the things that Kyndall has expressed. We just pray that you seek God. He sees you and he wants you to know that.
Yeah.
And cry out to him just like Kyndall did, and he'll meet you right where you are.
Yeah.
So in that, thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.